Hello and welcome to Reality Check on the brewing resentment in South India over its share of central funds. Kerala has called for a meeting of southern states to debate this. Stalin in Tamil Nadu has called it undemocratic, contradicts principles of federalism. A Tamil Nadu minister has said the formula determined to distribute funds is unacceptable and that Tamil Nadu won't compromise. The source of the conflict? A formula used by the Central Finance Commission to calculate population, which is one of the parameters used to distribute funds between centre and states. Until now, finance commissions were using the 1971 population census to calculate population, even though there's an updated 2011 census. The last finance commission used a mix of 71 and 2011 as a range of parameters which included economic distance, forest cover and so on. But the terms of reference of the latest Finance Commission says that the Commission shall use the population data of 2011 while making its recommendation. So only 2011. This has upset the South since they feel this will reduce their share of the revenue pie. Because in 1971, the population gap between the North and South, at least the four major North Indian states and the four major South Indian states, was narrower. It was only 46 million. By 2011, that gap has widened. It's almost 200 million. Now that's because obviously the rate of increase of population of the North has been greater than the South. In this period, the South has grown at 85%, the North at 144%. That imbalance is what the South argues has led to their contributing more money but receiving less. According to this argument, which is an argument made by the South Indian states, not by us, the South contributes about 42,000 crores in direct tax and receives about 22,000 crores, about half from the centre. The North, on the other hand, contributes about 15,000 crores and receives 50,000 crores, so almost 300% more. In other words, for every 1 rupee that the South gives, I beg your pardon, it gets 50 paise. And for 1 rupee that the North gives, it gets over 3 rupees. All right, is this at all a rational argument? Is there any basis for the South's grievance? We've got a great panel. We've got with us tonight Ratin Roy. He's a member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, also the head of the NIPFP, the National Institute of Public Finance and Policy, a think tank. We also have with us, joining us from Vijayawada, Srinivas Kesineni, who is a member of Parliament of the Telugu Desam Party. We have Dinesh Gundu Rao, spokesperson of the Congress in Karnataka, joining us, and also Shaibal Gupta, who is a member secretary of the Asian Development Research Institute in Patna. But first, let me go across to someone I spoke to earlier, and that is Mr. Subhash Garg. He is the Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, the section of the Finance Ministry that's involved with the drafting of the terms of reference of the Finance Commission, which has created so much conflict. And I began by asking him, why is it that the decision was to go with 2011 this time, and whether there's any scope that allows the Finance Commission to come up with their own formula, or is that binding on them?
The population is assigned typically about 25% of the weight.
Yes.
Rest other factors are used. The population is a right indicator for the needs. And if you have to make a needs assessment,
yes,
then you need to take what is the current population. That's why the Finance Commission terms of reference says that if needs are reflected in terms of the population and whatever appropriate weight you assign to population,
yes,
then the population should be the latest one. That's why 2011.
Is this binding on the Commission, or if they want to go back to 71 or use a mix of 71 and 2011, are they free to do that?
See, it is for the Finance Commission to take a view, but the terms of reference as they are stated does not prevent the Finance Commission to take a view to either assign different weights to different thing or to assign a different weight to the progress made since 71. So those states which have made greater progress towards population control
Right.
might also conceivably be given a weight. So
Okay, so
this
they
is
are
for the
free to-
Finance Commission, and I think this argument need to be
So
So
they are-
this
so they are-
argument
they-
need to be actually made before the Finance Commission.
Okay, so they are free if they want to use a different weight given to if they want to use a previous benchmark of a previous census, they are free to do that. This terms of reference doesn't prevent them from doing that. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes, not at all. They can use that. They can also use the progress made.
When you talk about the fact that you're saying that you will incentivize states that have done well in terms of controlling population, what is called replacement level of population growth, they are saying, the southern states are saying, they've already reached that. They've
Yeah.
saturated it. So they can't really show any great improvement. So are you going
See-
to only reward people who
See,
are in
this,
the
I
who are
think-
making progress, or even people who may have already made progress?
The terms of reference are very clearly, it in fact refers to the progress made,
Okay.
not the progress to be made. Any Finance Commission cannot actually design a formula which will take into account future progresses to be made in this regard.
Well, that should serve as some reassurance to states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu and so on, which have managed to essentially bring their fertility rates below the national average. They are almost at what is called the replacement level of population, right? So, you are saying that they can be rewarded for that.
Yeah, they need to be, that is the intent of this TOR, that the progress which have been made, the states which have done well,
Okay.
they need to be rewarded for the achievement which has been made.
Okay, all right. Ratan Roy, let's just step back a little bit away from the nitty-gritties of this formula calculation, take a deep breath and just look at the overall anxiety that the southern states are voicing about the fact that they may be shortchanged because of this calculation and that they're giving more but receiving less. Is there any legitimacy to this anxiety to begin with?
Srinivas, let me clarify two things. There is anxiety, I think, on the part of many states with regard to this TOR, which I will elaborate in a minute. And then there is this particular point about population.
Right.
I think this is not a well drafted terms of reference, and I've said so before in public.
Okay.
But that is not particularly because of population. Just to clarify what the Secretary was saying, the 2011 population is the extant population, and professionally, obviously, if you're looking at population as a weight at all,
Yeah.
you need to take the latest numbers that you have. If more people live in a certain place,
Yes.
then I think no one would disagree that if that is going to be a factor, then you take it into account. The question is what weight you attach to it, and those weights can vary fairly widely
Right.
across states. I think what the states have a concern with, and I think it's a valid concern, is the other elements of the TOR which you have not mentioned.
Okay.
For instance, there is an element there regarding the legitimacy or otherwise of populist expenditure by the states.
Right.
There are specific references to progress made in water and sanitation. So that sounds like a bit of a hymn sheet reflecting what the centre's priorities are, which the Finance Commission has been asked to take into account. I think there are genuine grounds for concern.
Oh, I see.
On the population,
Okay.
Secretary DA, what he said, let me add to that.
Yeah.
The population of Telangana is actually higher than replacement rates. If you carve out a state, what you will typically find is poorer areas in a state have high population growth and richer areas have low population growth.
Right.
So if Andhra Pradesh was one state, their population growth will be relatively low. But with Telangana, you will find the population growth is high.
Okay.
Then there are other states that are part of the federal compact, such as UP and Bengal, which have high population growth rates. So I don't think the issue here is that whether it is population, it is the other elements of the TOR. And I really
Okay,
hope
Ratan,
that the constitutional body, the Finance Commission, will be able to navigate this.
Okay, Ratan, the reason why we are dwelling so much on population is because that's the one that these states are articulating repeatedly and more stridently. But I agree with you, there are other aspects, I'll get into that in a second. But I just want to come back to you on this entire business of this give and take. You know, this idea that because the population game is weighted against us, we're giving 1 rupee but only getting 50 paise versus a northern state which is getting 3 times as much. What do you make of that argument?
Then they should focus. Well, there are 2 points. Good question. There are 2 points I want to make about that. Let me give you an example. Hindustan Lever is headquartered in Bombay and therefore pays its direct taxes in Bombay.
Right.
Okay, or Mumbai or Bombay, whatever you want to call it nowadays. I have no idea. Since I'm from Bombay, I will call it Bombay with everybody's permission. But does Hindustan Lever make its money only in Bombay? Does it not sell soap and shampoo and other such things in North and South Indian states? So is it fair to make a calculation that where a company is headquartered and where it pays its taxes is where it earns its income? Of course not. When it comes to consumption, with the GST in place, 50% of the GST goes to the center and then is spent across the states. So if you are going to get the argument of I pay taxes and I get less out of my taxes, then don't have a finance commission. Let's just give everybody the taxes that they collect where they collect, and that would be both gratuitous and unfair, and I'm sure
Okay,
that
Ratan,
every
that's
chief minister in India will agree with me on this. So I
Okay.
think the real issue is not how much taxes we collect versus how much we pay.
right.
But the real issue is whether the ability of states to be able to execute an autonomous policy
Yeah.
is in place or not, and that is the issue I think that is the most serious one on the table.
Okay,
The
Dinesh
question
Gundu Rao.
of taxes is ridiculous.
Okay, Dinesh Gundu Rao, it was in fact Mr. Siddaramaiah who on his Facebook page had actually put that figure saying that I give 1 rupee but I only get 50 paise versus a northern state. But as we just heard from Ratan Roy, that is not the real issue, is it? Because if you happen to be a state where a large number of companies are registered, they're doing business all over the country. So how do you make that an argument of feeling somewhat disadvantaged?
Srinivasan, India is a quasi-federal state, and definitely we understand that every state has to contribute to the nation's growth, and we have had no issues on this ever. Nobody has ever made an issue out of this. Unfortunately, what has happened is in the last 1 year, we've been having the BJP leaders, Mr. Amit Shah, the Prime Minister, coming in telling Karnataka people that I am giving you 1 lakh crores, 2 lakh crores, and what are you doing with it, as if it is a gratis that the central government of India is giving to Karnataka. And the way they were speaking to the people of Karnataka, and the way they were doling, the way they were talking about the money that we receive, that is constitutionally ours. So there was a issue, a lot of heartburn on that. That's point number 1.
But Dinesh,
point number 2 is we have no issue. Yes, entire country has to develop, and if
but Dinesh,
and when we can contribute more, we will contribute more.
But Dinesh,
on
you
the
made it.
15th Finance Commission terms of reference.
You made it a political thing as far as the population part of it is concerned. Now, I don't know if you heard there. The Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, he's saying, look, population is going to be broken up into 2 parts. One part is just the pure number, the demographic, that will be calculated on the basis of the 2111 census. That sort of tilts or favors the North Indian states. Another part will be calculated on the basis of how well you manage to control your population. We'll reward that, and that sort of benefits states like Karnataka. Are you okay with that?
No, we were not okay with that, because as it is, if you see, Kerala receives 25 paise out of its 1 rupee. Karnataka receives 47 paise. Tamil Nadu receives 40 paise, and we are contributing to India's growth. But if you take the 1971 census and change it to 2011 census, there is going to be a huge difference, and that difference could be in a huge way, which will affect our incomes and our revenues that we are getting from Government of India. So this is a very legitimate fear that any state will have. Why change the population, the criteria?
Yeah.
And that is one issue. The second issue is
Shaibal Gupta,
talking about populist measures. Now, populist measures are what? How do you define populist measures?
Right.
If you do a loan waiver, is that a populist measure? When we give free food, is it a populist measure? When we give midday meal scheme, is that a populist measure? Because these populist measures actually have helped our people in their health, education, and better standard of living.
Okay,
today, Karnataka's and entire South India's population is about 20% of the country, but we are contributing 30% of India's tax revenue.
No, fair enough, Dinesh. I think you're saying a lot of things.
We are fine with the
I
present
understand.
structure. But at the same time, I
You
think
feel
government
that
of
you
India
don't want
should
to be put
realize
upon. Okay,
that
Dinesh.
there is a genuine concern here and address it very, very carefully.
Okay, all right,
and
Dinesh,
talk to the people
okay, Dinesh,
concerned
let
and
me-
have a legitimate dialogue
let me
and
move
see
on.
that things are sorted out.
Let me move on. Shaibal Gupta, you're talking to us from Patna. Bihar is one of those states which is the recipient of more central funds under this formula. What do you make of this anxiety being voiced by your southern cousins? Saying, look, we worked hard to try and bring down our population, we are generating greater revenue, and yet the manner in which the terms of reference have been framed is weighted against us.
You see, if you go by the current parameters, possibly the concern of the southern states are genuine. But if you take the historical parameters, that I think the concern that is being expressed by the southern states are not genuine. Because if you see in the pre-independence period, during the British period, it was the Bengal presidency where Bihar was also part.
Yes.
Bengal presidency had subsidized
Right.
the deficit of Bombay and Madras presidency.
Right.
In the post-independence period, the freight equalization created havoc for Eastern India and Bihar.
Right.
Now, if you go by the any indicators, plan expenditure or non-plan expenditure
Yes.
in the post-independence period,
Yes.
we got the list, and now we need more funds, because until unless we spend more funds for education, for
Yes.
health,
Yes.
we cannot go forward.
Right.
Now, for controlling population, the social investment is very important factor.
Right.
Now, for example, Bihar's education budget is highest amongst all other departments.
Right.
Yet, the per capita expenditure of education is lowest in the country.
Right.
Now, until unless we spend on education, we cannot go forward. Now,
Okay.
in case of Kerala, in case of southern India, most of these states had experienced social movement. For example, in Kerala, from Travancore, Cochin to different
Saibal.
religious organization, including the Jesuit organization, they played a very important role. Even the communist organization
Okay,
played an
Saibal
important
Gupta,
role
I
as
think-
far as literacy and education is concerned. Now,
Okay, fair enough. Can I just pause you there for a second?
so that
and take the
played a
crux
very
of-
important role. That
Okay.
we have to take into
Okay,
cognizance.
can I just pause you there for a second and take what you said to Srinivas Kesineni from the TDP, which has been very vocal about this
Yeah.
as well, not just in the context of special category status, but just in terms of devolution of funds. Srinivas Kesineni, what would you say to a state like Bihar or UP, which is saying, look, historically we have been at a disadvantage, we need the extra funds to catch up, and therefore, if it's coming from the south or the west, that's part of a certain concept of federal justice in this country.
Srinivasan, see,
Yes.
you know the recent developments across the country. In the AP State Reorganization Act, whatever promised by the central government was not done to state of Andhra Pradesh. What my CM demands now is, we have been generating so much of revenue for the country. So only when you empower the states, financially and otherwise also, the states will develop. Only when the states develop, this country develops. So my CM's thinking and the thought process is like, so whatever revenue coming from these sources, the state should be empowered to have the majority share of the revenue, so that, see, whatever is going to the central pool, there is a partiality happening. The center, wherever, see, suppose if you take the BJP government in recent times, it is not distributing the wealth of the country in a proper manner.
Okay.
Wherever there is an election coming up, they go to that state and promise a lot of things to that state and then come back and does nothing to the state. So, my CM, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, he wants more empowerment of finances to the state
Okay.
financially.
Okay.
So,
fair enough.
whatever the state is earning, suppose you take, for example, my CM got Kia Motors to the state. per annum, if this Ms. Chandrababu Naidu has set up Kia Motors giving all the incentives in our state,
Yes.
the center for just one industry is getting 10,000 crores per annum as its share. But
No, fair enough.
in turn, we are not getting that share to the state, and we have been, the center has been showing a stepmother attitudes towards the state.
Okay,
Not
fair
only-
enough.
not only
You Srinivas
Andhra Pradesh,
Kesineni, your
Karnataka,
point is made.
but across the country. This
Okay,
is
your
the
point is
situation.
made. Your point is made. Your point is made. In a way, you're reflecting what Dinesh Gundu Rao said as well. Ratin, it is clear now that as we continue with this discussion, what you were saying, that it's not just about the fact that we're talking about population or 2011, but there are these other aspects of the terms of reference, which, as you pointed out, are perhaps poorly drafted, which is asking states in a way to match the center's agenda. I mean, I have the terms of reference here. It talks about, for example, implementing central government schemes. It talks about aspects of GST, talking about flagship government schemes, ease of doing business, and so on. You think this is a sort of problem? This is an imposition?
Let me take 3 points. This is probably my last intervention. First, may I congratulate both the TDP representative and Mr. Gundu Rao for the statesmanlike and extremely, shall I say, sort of India mindful attitude they have shown in presenting the arguments. It's really a lesson to us that we must not, sitting in Delhi, imagine that when states make arguments regarding their autonomy, they are speaking from parochial self-interest. And you have evidence in this program before you. Both Mr. Gundu Rao and the TDP rep, forgive me, Sai, I didn't catch your name, have been very statesmanlike, saying that they are not against money being used for the development of India. What they are against, or what they are concerned about, if I may say so, to both you gentlemen, I agree and I hear you, is that the Finance Commission should not be seen as propagating the agenda of the center as sort of being the voice of the development of India, with the states looking at their own parochial interests. And what they have said today shows that that is the wrong way to go about it. Now, having served on a Finance Commission as the economic advisor of the 13th, I am fully confident that this Finance Commission will not do that, and it will do its constitutional duty of taking an even-handed approach between the states and the center. That is point one. Point two, there are many elements in this terms of reference on which, yes, I think the states have an argument and the center also has an argument. And I think the Finance Commission will have to take a view, and the beauty is, being a constitutional body with a limited term, it can take that view and put it forward, and its primary duty is to make sure that, as has happened across the history of India, Finance Commission reports are accepted despite reservations by both the center and the states.
Is there
In that sense, I think I would have, if I were there, I would have drafted the TORs a little more sensibly. The third thing I want to say, therefore, is the point is not the population issue, because nobody in this conversation has argued against the major determinant of what we call horizontal central transfer, which is which state gets how much, which is a minimum of 50% up to 60% of the total
Yes.
allocation to states is given on the basis of the inverse of per capita income, which is the poorer you are, the more you get.
Right, what's
These
called
gentlemen have been
economic
very
distance.
statesmanlike, and they have at no point objected to that. That's a wonderful thing, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we do have the elements in place for a political compact, as we have done 14 times in the past, to go forward. It is right that the states are raising concerns early, and I'm completely confident the Finance Commission will take these into account and will ensure that it does what it is expected to do, which is an even-handed approach towards delivering state
Ratin, I
finances.
just
But what
wanna-
I must join issue with, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Ratin, I just want to ask you very briefly, as we sort of wind down on the show, is there any scope for the terms of reference to be changed, if it comes to that?
The terms of reference can of course be changed. It is at the pleasure of the central government, no, not the states, to do so.
Yes.
But there is no need to change the terms of reference, because you can take, let me put it this way, you could mostly take 2011 population criteria and make it 1%. You could take 2011 population criteria and you could also add on a grant. There are many instruments at the disposal of the Finance Commission, which would reward states that have done well on fertility. There are many things possible, but I think it is very important that the states understand that they have a common objective, which is that states, being closer to the citizens, are better equipped to deal with issues like poverty, health, education, etc. And if this is going to be a development-oriented devolution,
Right.
then subject to the important other demands the center has, such as defense, foreign affairs, etc., the states must be allowed both autonomy and independence and variety in the disposition of resources. I think that
Okay.
is the argument I'm hearing from these two very statesman-like gentlemen.
Right.
And I'm very happy that is happening because it tells me that our
Okay.
federal fiscal structure is safe.
Okay. All right. You know, I'm so frustrated that I can't go back to them to get their views because we're completely out of time. But I promise you, Dinesh Gundurao, Mr. Kesineni, Saibal, we will come back to the story. But I think we've made a good start, and it's definitely you know, a sort of a sober note to wrap up the show on. Thank you all so much for joining us. That's all the time we have on Reality Check. Thanks for watching. Good night.